Hello all, it's James Johnson, aka Sulfur Played. Welcome back to my channel, welcome back to my content, and welcome to Bitcraft Online. This is what I'm still doing. It's still kind of totally sucked me in, and it's been my being for the last several days, weeks, however long it's been now. Anyway, I felt like it's about time that I do a video that I've been kind of preparing. This is a video for new players, and the most commonly asked questions that we get from new players in chat. And so I'm going to try to go through these one at a time and cover them. The first one that we're going to start with is, how do you start your own settlement? So here we are in the wonderful town of Exile Falls, and this strange looking dude here is called Rumba. When you open up Rumba and you trade with Rumba, down towards the bottom will be a settlement writ. Writ of Settlement Foundation, which requires 10 of these beginner codexes and 5,000 gold. Now, what is a beginner's codex? Well, that's something that's crafted over here at the Scholar Station. So if we open up the Scholar Station, we can come on down here and we can find a beginner's codex. A beginner's codex requires one of each of these research notes, if you will. Now, in order to craft the beginner's research notes, like example the cloth one, you're going to need to acquire 12 beginner study journals and refined rough cloth. That will, or excuse me, not 12, but one. So one of these, which is made from this, so on and so forth. You get the idea. So you're gonna get to know your Scholar Station, and you're gonna put together these beginners codexes that are incredibly easy compared to the hardship that you're placing upon yourself going forward. Just to give you an idea, we're currently working on T5. This is just an idea of what we need. What do we need for Tier 5? We need 160 Tier 1 refined leather, cloth, planks, ingots, and bricks, which then become, they get turned into 80 Tier 2 leather, cloth, planks, ingots, and bricks, which then becomes 40 Tier 3 leather, cloth, planks, ingots, and bricks, which then becomes 20 Tier 4 leather, cloth, planks, ingots, and bricks. And making these refined versions of the Tier 1s is easier said than done. It's quite the undertaking. It's not something you want to do as a solo person. Okay, so that's the beginner settlement. That's how I make my own settlement. That's who you go to is Rumba. Now, what's the next thing on my list? Aha. So lots of people like to, hunt. And they will find something like one of these birds over here. I'll just demonstrate it. It probably won't happen the way that it happens to many people, because I'm demonstrating it. In fact, it only happens, I don't know, maybe 10% of the time. It just depends on where the bird dies, right? So did the bird die on something important? No, the bird did not die on something important. What if the bird had died on this strawberry bush? Well, some people think that they can't pick up the bird unless they remove the strawberry bush to get to it. That's not true. You can simply hold down Shift, click on the tile, and that brings up this View Dropped Items box. Then you click on the View Dropped Items, and this will pop up. You'll be able to collect the bird. and I think I will do so, because I don't want the carcass to go to waste, you will be able to collect the bird that way. So you no longer have to remove the flowers that the bird died on. You no longer have to remove the strawberry bush that the bird died on. You can just shift, right-click, and pick up the bird. Okay, now on to the next commonly asked item. How to research to show. Not sure what my note here is supposed to mean. Give me 1 second. Here, just get in there. Okay. Research tier 2 to show buildings. Oh, right. Okay. I know. Yeah, I understand what I'm talking about here. So if you were to place your own settlement, this happens to a lot of people. When they go to place their own settlement, they get this item right here. It's called a totem. And then they will go to press B, which brings up all the things you can build, and they'll have like nothing here. There's like nothing to build when you first place down your settlement, and you're pulling your hair out wondering, why can't I build anything? Well, in order to build something, you need to go to research, because you start off, when you drop that totem, as a tier 1 settlement. You actually have to do the tier 2 research, which takes about 60 seconds. But still, you have to come in here, click research, click on the tier 2 research, and start it. Again, it only takes like 60 seconds to do, but until you do that, you won't have any access to any buildings to build. And you'll be asking in chat frantically, why can't I build anything? Well, there you go. That's how you unlock your basic tier 2 buildings to be able to build in your settlement, is by simply doing the tier 2 research. Next topic, the claymore. Okay, so a lot of people ask about weapons, and just to make a very, very long story short, it's usually, what is the best weapon? Well, there's a lot of weapons to choose from, and of these weapons, you need, typically, to have a certain level of slayering in order to unlock them. What do we got here? Usually it says the skill needed here. Maybe because I have all the skill I need for everything, it's not going to show me the skill needed anymore. So I don't really remember what levels that these unlock at. But just to make a long story short, dual blades suck. Mace is okay-ish. Spear and shield might be good when they release dungeons. It's more of a tanking thing. Right now in game, you don't need to tank. Crossbow takes like 30 slaying skill, so you won't have access to that for a long, long time. So the only real option is the claymore. And the claymore is a great weapon. Claymore, hands down, you can unlock it. Tier 5 slaying, smashes mobs. There's no question that the claymore is the best weapon in the current meta of the game, if you will. So, if you're looking for the best weapon, all you need is to do 5 levels of slaying to unlock it here at Rampart. And then you can get yourself a claymore, and slaying jackals and stuff like that will be incredibly easier. Alright, next topic. Terraforming for construction. Well, we happen to have some terraforming going on right now in town. These buildings you may have seen out in the wild are called terraforming stations. if you build one of them, you can dig, which is what Brett is currently doing. He's taking an area here. He's basically digging a big hole here, a big rectangular hole that I'm planning to hide smelters and stuff inside of. Brett is hard at work digging the hole, but you do that with these terraforming buildings. And how do you build the terraforming buildings? Well, they're really simple. All they take are sticks. You press B to bring up your build menu here. Just type in TER, which brings up this thing. Select it and drop it on the ground wherever you want to do your digging at. And then you can diggity up and down, left and right, wherever. You can just go nuts digging, and that is the easiest and best way to raise construction. You don't need to own a settlement. You don't need to you don't need to own a settlement. You can just go out into the wild, drop down a terraforming station anywhere in the world, and start digging. And that will raise your construction skill pretty quickly. Alright, and why would you want to raise your construction skill? Well, it'll unlock the wagon. So the wagon is a thing that you get from Brinko, which is this this big golf ball looking guy back here. Let me run on back here. From Brinko, if you have a 20 construction, you can open him up, do a trade with him, and basically unlock the wagon. Once you have the wagon deed, it just takes a simple timber, and you can have yourself the normal wagon. If you want an advanced wagon, you come here and you bring them some fine timber, and your wagon becomes an advanced wagon. Or an improved wagon, for instance, with sturdy timber, will become an improved wagon. Okay. So wagon requires 20 skill, and that's how you upgrade the wagon. I just showed you. Then there's also the cart. You start with the cart. Cart is my favorite. I use the heck out of the cart. Cart is just for me, it's more useful than the wagon. This advanced cart only has 3 cargo slots, but it has lots of normal storage slots. And these are the things I tend to have to use more often because my personal cache isn't used the way most people's personal caches are. Me being a mayor, I have to house all of these rare resources that are needed at the Scholar's Bench to upgrade the town. And that's pretty much everything. That my personal cache is pretty much dedicated for that. Where other people can put things that they normally craft into their personal cache. And so this cart becomes much less useful for normal people. But for me as a mayor, this cart becomes pretty vital for my crafting experience, as I end up putting stuff into the cart and going from station to station and crafting out of this cart instead of crafting from my personal storage box, because my personal storage box, once again, I'll just go over here and show you, it's filled to the brink with all of this stuff that you use for upgrading the town, right? So that's just the way my life is. And as you can see, other people in the town have down their personal chests here, and they're able to craft straight from them with logs and lumber and stuff like that. But I just don't have that luxury. So this advanced cart comes in very useful for me. Anyway, what about the advanced cart? So again, the advanced cart is just like the wagon in that you can come over here to golf ball looking dude called Brinko, and you can upgrade your advanced cart the same way as you upgrade your wagon, via timbers. So a simple timber for the improved cart and a sturdy timber for the advanced cart. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So that's how you can get your cart and wagon upgrades. raft. How do you get your first ship? How do you build a raft? This question comes up more commonly than you would realize. People automatically jump to the conclusion that they have to build a raft because this is a game that's all about building stuff. So why wouldn't you build a raft? Well, you don't build your raft. You come over here to this funny looking guy here called Svim. You open up Svim, and right here there's a. Actually, you're gonna, I think, have to spend. Is it 50 gold? To learn to sail a raft. And again, this doesn't require any skill at all in sailing. And then 100 gold for the raft deed itself. So with the combination of the training and the raft price, it's going to be 150 gold, and you can have your own raft that you can deploy in the water and start easily moving around through the water instead of struggling to go over land. Trust me, rivers are very, very convenient way of moving around the map when you don't have roads and such in order to make your moving around the map easier. So that's how you get your raft. Next after the raft is the skiff. A skiff is pretty much my favorite deployable of them all. This skiff gets so much work, it does so much things for me. It is my primary workhorse of all of my deployables. It does more work than my advanced cart, does more work than my wagon. This skiff is really the most useful deployable I have in my arsenal. It pretty much hauls all the cargo I need to build the town back to town. It is the king of the universe when it comes to important deployables that you should try to get as soon as possible. However, that's the trick, right? Trying to get your skiff as soon as possible is not easy because you need 20 skill in sailing in order to use the skiff. Again, you would acquire your skiff here from Svim. And once you get the 20 skill in the skiff, you'd be able to come here, and I think it's 3,500 for the training for the skiff. Obviously, I don't see the training here because I've already gotten the training. And then it's simple timber and cloth tarp tier 2s to then build the skiff to get the deed for the skiff. Once you got the deed, you put it down in the water, and you're good to go. But how do you get the skill? How do you get your sailing up to 20? Well, you can drive around in your raft, which is a slow way of getting some XP. Not a lot of XP. Or you can do tasks for Svim here. All of these tasks right here award points towards improving your sailing. I've been lacking at doing swim tasks as I have so many other things to do that I don't have much time to do travelers tasks. Other people who aren't a mayor of a town and aren't trying to tear up their town, aren't the person that's required to build all of the workbenches, you'll have more time than me, and so you'll be able to do these swim tasks and raise your sailing through doing these tasks. This is the fastest way to raise your sailing, is doing these tasks. The tasks reset, I think, every 4 hours. So every 4 hours you can get, another 3,000 to 4,000 XP from Svim, or you can drive around in the raft. And that's, again, to unlock the skiff is 20 skill points in sailing. Moving on to the next topic. Deluxe fish and bulbs. This food right here, deluxe plain fish and bulbs, tier 1. With it, it gives me 8.2% crafting speed. It gives me 8.2% gathering speed. And then some health regen and stamina regen. The tier 2 version is going to be like 8.3% crafting speed and 8.3% gathering speed. The tier 3 is like 8.4. The tier 5 is like 8.6. The crafting speed and gathering speed increase from the higher tiers of this particular food aren't big. It's not a huge addition. However, the health regeneration and the stamina regeneration do go up in larger chunks. So if you want more health regeneration and stamina regen, you can eat the fancier food, if you will. I myself, I'm happy and content with just eating the tier 1 deluxe fish and bulbs. So there's normal fish and bulbs, which is half of the gathering bonus and half of the crafting bonus. And then there's deluxe fish and bulbs, which is basically uses twice the amount of fish plus salt. It's a little bit of an extra hurdle. It's another step in the crafting process, but it's well worth it. And in my opinion, the deluxe fish and bulbs is the best food you can eat because it gives you that crafting and gathering speed. So there you have it, deluxe fish and bulbs. You should be eating deluxe fish and bulbs. Okay, moving on to the next topic, the heart quest. Okay, when you start the game, you have these quests, right? And I still have the mending heart quest up to bats, but you should not be ignoring what I guess what most people consider the tutorial. Do not ignore the tutorial. You want to get your heart. Your heart is pretty important in that it gives you 50 additional stamina and 50 additional HP. That's huge, guys. That's 50 additional stamina and 50 additional HP is just gigantic, and it's so easy to get. All you have to do is to walk into the temple. I'm in region 2. Different regions will have different places where their temples are, but I just happen to know that right here across from King Kale's claim, right about here where my my cursor is the first temple, right? And so in order to get there, it's just kind of a short walk from Grainspire up to here. It's a short walk from Duskroom up over here. Or the longest walk would probably be from Emberdeep up to here. It's worth making that trip, as again, you're going to get 50 HP and you're going to get 50 stamina from doing the heart quest. So the heart quest is somewhere later along the line of your tutorial quests. The tutorial quests have something like 86 quests involved in them. And somewhere towards the end of those quests is when the heart quest is going to happen. You definitely want to work towards that and get it done. Alright, next topic. Yes. You're probably doing these quests. You're new to the game. One of the quests is that you need to make some wispweave. And you're like, well, where the heck do I get the seeds to make wispweave? So the very first time you have to farm something, you need to basically get yourself some wild seeds. And where do you get wild seeds? Well, you find yourself a bush. There just happens to be a bush here. So if you work on this bush a while, which is going to get me rough plant roots, and right there I just got a wild fiber plant seed. This is where you get your original seeds that you're going to need to make your fiber. So you would take the seeds and you would combine it with fertilizer at a farm. This is what my version, because I'm in a player settlements version of a farm, looks like. The ruined town has a building that looks a little bit fancier, but they both, the player town farm and the ruined town farm, both work exactly the same way. They just look different, guys. They just look different. That's really the only difference here. So these wild plant fiber seeds you get from bushes. Otherwise, after you do the farming, you're going to get basic wisp weave seeds when you actually do the harvesting afterwards. And you're going to get a lot of these through the courses of your farming shenanigans. I'm sitting on 678 basic wisp weave seeds, and you want to hang on to your seeds. Seeds are useful in that, the more seeds you have, the bigger farm area you can put down and farm simultaneously, or maybe you can help somebody else out who doesn't know how to get seeds and you can just hand them some, or you can actually use seeds in the process of making potions here at the Scholar's Bench. So that's another use for spare seeds. So that's how you get your initial seed for your wisp weave. Is you go over to a bush, smack it down, and it'll eventually drop a seed or two. And that's how you get the farming started. After that, you'll just be getting seeds every time you harvest your plants. And so basically you'll go from wild to domestic seeds. Then as you tier up, as you get to a higher tier, you're going to basically take higher tier fertilizer and the lower level seed, or well, actually no, you're going to take normal fertilizer and normal seed to grow a normal plant. When you get the normal plant, you will have you'll have this, right? So this is typically you're going to take the plants and you're going to use it at the farming workbench to get stuff out of the plants. But when you're tiering up to the next tier, you're going to take a higher tier of fertilizer plus the lower level of plant, and it's going to become the higher tier of plant. That's how you go from tier 1 to tier 2, is basically utilizing higher tier fertilizer with these recipes here. Hopefully that makes sense. You don't have to go find a tier 2 bush to get a tier 2 seed. You just do it here with tier 2 fertilizer. You create a tier 2 plant basically at the field with better fertilizer. Alright, moving on to the next topic. Regions. What can you see without exploration? Okay, so when you open up the map, we're looking at the map here. I'm pretty much as zoomed out as you can get, and I'm in region 2. So I can see these cities around the way, and I can see a lot of cities that I haven't actually been to. Like for instance, I've never been over in this area here, and you can see that I can see these cities. These cities are, well, when you're completely zoomed out, you can see cities that are tier 3 or above. Tier 3 or above, or they're empires. They're capitals of empires. A lot of people just make kind of dummy empires, like this one here, Fort Mantis, was just recently made yesterday. It's showing up here on the screen because it's an empire. It's technically the capital of an empire, but I don't think it's even a tier 2 town yet. Yeah, it's still a tier 2 claim. So the only reason it's showing up right now is because it's an empire. Anyway, what am I getting at here? I'm getting at, if you look over here, you can see, I don't see any towns here. Well, I do. I see Hearthsrest, I see Ashglen, and there should be one more around here somewhere that I probably should see. Though I don't know where it would be. Here, Brayfell. Okay, this is a different region. This is region 3. I'm in region 2. Over here is region 1. Here I can see region 1 starter cities. but I can't see anything else, right? I can see their empires, but I can't see their towns. But over here, I can see all these towns. That's because those are the towns that comprise Region 2. When you're in Region 2, you can see Region 2 towns. But you can't see Region 1 towns. You can't see Region 3 towns. You can't see Region, what would this be? Above 3 would be 6. Region 6 towns. You can't see Region 5 towns. You can't see Region 4 towns. And up here would be 7, Region 7, Region 8, Region 9. Okay, it's laid out like a keyboard. So, bottom center of the keyboard, Region 2, that's where I live. Region 5, Region 8, so on and so forth. As you zoom in, you should be able to see smaller claims. Like Night Bast here, I'm assuming, is Tier 2. Yeah. This will vanish when I zoom out. Gone. It's not yet Tier 3, so it doesn't clutter the map. So you have to zoom in to see smaller level claims. Right, and that's kind of how the map works in a nutshell. So I know this is a different region because I don't see any of the cities over here other than their starter cities. But I know that this is my region because I can actually see the cities being populated on the map. Alright, next step. Forge and Forester, Carp Tailor. Okay, maybe you have placed your own town. Possibly you have just upgraded to Tier 3. And you don't yet see the Tier 3 buildings. Like we not that recently, but we've semi-recently upgraded to Tier 4, and I don't see all of the Tier 4 buildings yet. I'm most definitely missing the smelter. This will give you an idea of what I'm talking about. So I've got these smelters here, but I don't have a Tier 4 smelter yet to put down. And that's because not all buildings are instantly unlocked when you when you upgrade a tier. You have to trigger a building to be unlocked. So when you first upgrade to Tier 3, you're going to have nothing. There's going to be no buildings here. The first building that you can trigger to unlock, or the first building you should trigger to unlock, is your Forester and your Forage stations. These are kind of like the stations you tend to start with when you're upgrading your town. And that's this guy and this guy. And how do you unlock them? Well, you just go chop down a Tier 3 tree, and you will now have access to the Tier 3 Forester and the Tier 3 whatchamacallit, the Forager. Then to get some of the other things, you can go harvest that tier of stone, and you'll get typically the masonry and the smelters and stuff will unlock, as well as the mining station when you go and harvest some stone. When you go harvest, which I haven't done yet, I haven't harvested Tier 4 ore, but when I do, I will have access to that smelter. That's why it's not on the list up here, because I haven't yet touched Tier 4 ore to unlock the smelter on the list. So that's how that works. You have to actually touch the gatherable that's going to be used by that station. So for a forestry station and a foraging station, you need to touch a Tier 4 tree, and thus it will then unlock. Okay, hopefully I've explained that concept and how that works. Moving on to the next topic. Chum. Chum, something that you can craft over here at the fishing station. with raw meat and some fish, you can make chum. Chum is like bait, except you use it on ocean nodes. And you'll find an ocean node, and when you find the ocean node, you will take the chum and you will activate the ocean node. That ocean node will be activated for 15 minutes with one chum. Then it's a rush to catch as many fish out of that ocean node as you can. It becomes a frenzied ocean node. And you just keep trying to pull as many. If it's tier 1, it'll probably be marlins. And you're just trying to pull as many marlins out of that node as you can humanly pull out as possible. An interesting thing to know about these ocean nodes and chumming is that multiple people can do a node at the same time. So if I activate a node with my chum, you can have 4, 5, 6, 7 people fishing out of that same node at the exact same time. They don't have to use their chum. Only one chum is needed, and everybody can fish from the node. Okay, and a lot of people have problems finding where to fish for ocean nodes. Just to give you an idea, when you look at the map and you're sailing around here, this is pretty shallow ocean, right? You're not going to find a lot of ocean nodes around here. That's not to say that you can't. It's just to say that it's unlikely. You tend to find the ocean nodes in deeper water. I just happen to know that in Region 2, down in this area down here, is a lot of deep water. This is a good place to go if you want to be fishing in the ocean for ocean fish. It is right here between the bottom of Region 2 and the desert wastelands down here. Great spot for ocean fish. Between regions, generally, like in this area, would probably be a good location to find ocean fish. Again, between regions up here, probably a good place to find ocean fish. And once again, that same trend between regions over here, probably a good place to find ocean fish. In this area around Seabrook, between these continents, again, the water tends to be a bit too shallow for ocean fish. Probably not a good spot. So yeah, ocean fish, deep water. Don't be looking through shallow water and pulling your hair out. You're not going to find it. Or you probably won't find it. It's not completely impossible, but just go to the more sensible, deeper water areas. All right, that's information about chumming and ocean fishing. Next is the personal cache. I think I've talked a little bit about the personal cache already, but let's make sure that I've completely hammered on the idea of the personal cache. The personal cache is a deployable that you can get over here from Rumbaugh, and I believe it's like most things, you kind of unlock the technology to use it, and then you have to buy it, usually with materials. So, like, to expand my personal cache to tier 2, it would take a simple brick slab and the deed itself. To expand it to tier 5, I don't know why that says a 5 there when it takes tier 4, whatever. Anyway, so with a tier 4 brick slab, I haven't actually done this yet. My cache is still this size. In order to do this, I will need to get a hold of this brick slab. Then I will need to actually empty my personal cache, which is going to be a total pain in the butt. I'll need to pick it up, and I'll need to turn it back into a deed, and then I can upgrade it to that next level. Again, not looking forward to having to empty this out temporarily to upgrade it, but that's going to be a thing in the future fairly soon for me. But that's the personal cache. The personal cache is great because it's got a nice hefty range. You can be a long ways away using crafting stations, like about that far there, and you can basically use the personal stash to hold all of the stuff all the parts you need for the stuff you're crafting, and it'll craft right out of your personal stash. Very handy dandy tool. Huge, lots of space. It's practically as big as a bank. You definitely need to get a hold of your personal cache if you don't have it already. Alright, and then meta gear pros and cons. Oh, I know what I'm talking about here. Alright, gear. The stuff that we wear. Did you know that... Let's find an example. I happen to have put my grass shirt into the vault. You can put... Let's... Actually, I have a cloth shirt somewhere here. I can demonstrate it for you guys. Right here. Alright, so you've got a cloth shirt, right? Press V. You can add this to vault. Boom. Cloth shirt is now in vault. Now if I go to the torso, you can see there's the cloth shirt. If I click on this, I am now wearing it. However, comma, this is a skin only. I am not getting the benefits of a cloth shirt right now. I am still getting the benefits of the armor that I'm wearing. So you can keep a full inventory of other equipment. Like you can put a whole set of cloth into the vault here, and when you want to wear it, you can go here into the vault and what was I wearing anyway? I think I was wearing that. So go here and you can convert to deed, and now it's back here in your inventory. Now you can actually put it on your person, for instance, like so, and you'll actually get the benefit of the cloth shirt. And then I could put that in the vault. I could add to vault. Now it's in the vault. When I go over here, now I can see it, but it's not doing anything. It just looks like I'm wearing metal armor, because again, when it's in the vault here, it's a skin. When you remove it from the vault, convert it back into a deed, and you put it back on, now it's doing what it does again. It's your equipment. So the equipment you're actually wearing is what you get bonuses for. But you can actually utilize this vault here as a closet to hold sets of gear in. So that's the breakdown on how to utilize the vault as storage for extra sets of gear. If you want to do that, you can. If it's too much of a hassle, I understand. I myself find it to be too much of a hassle, so I don't screw with it. But other people, they're happy enough to fight the hassle, to be able to utilize having the different sets of gear at their disposal for the different purposes that different sets of gear are good at. All right, and the last one, mushrooms. As funny as this is, people are always asking, how the hell do I find mushrooms? Well, they're going to be right outside of the starter town. You're going to be practically stepping on them. I'm telling you, they're all around the starter town. They look just like this. This is a tier 1 mushroom. Okay. Easy to walk past, but that's what the mushrooms look like. That's what you're not seeing. Now, the neat thing is once you do find a mushroom, or once you do find anything in general, you can press C, which brings up this screen. You can click on Resources. Just because we're talking about mushrooms right now, because mushrooms is the one particular one that everyone always asks about. It's not, how do I find the berries? How do I find the rocks? It's always the tier 1 mushrooms that people are always desperate to find. You can then click on the mushrooms themselves. You can hit track. And now it puts a little tracking device on here. And I can walk around, and wherever I go, it'll update to basically be where's the nearest mushroom to your person at this point in time. And yeah, you can just run over the map and collect all the mushrooms you could ever want, because the mini map up here is going to constantly track the next nearest mushrooms for you. You can do this with any resource, not just mushrooms. You can do it with tier 2 trees, tier 1 trees, sand, tier 1 sand, tier 2 sand, tier 3 sand, you name it. The world is your oyster. Utilize tracking. Tracking makes the world much, much, much easier to deal with, as eventually you'll need different tiers of different things all the time, and it's just so much easier just to hit C, hit the resources, go grab whatever it is you want to track, and get to tracking it. Anyway, these are my 18 or 20, I don't know, I lost track. There's somewhere around 18 or 20 tips for new players. These are probably the most frequently asked questions you will see in chat on this game, and hopefully this video has adequately covered them so that you understand and you won't need to ask the question going forward. I'm James Johnson, aka Sulfurblade. This is my content. Hopefully you're enjoying it. If so, please smash that like button, consider subscribing, and until the next time, all, peace